All right, so today we're going to dive into something pretty wild, I think. You ready for this?
Oh, he's up for an adventure. Let's hear it.
We're talking about an online energy park.
Online? Like a virtual theme park or something?
Not exactly. It's a website created by this guy, Tomasz Fleger, and it's not your average website.
Okay. I'm intrigued. What makes it so unique?
I've got these articles here about it. And it claims to actually transmit energy, like real energy, through the internet to impact like your mind and your body.
Hold on, transmit energy through the internet? How is that even
That's
possible?
probably the million-dollar question, right?
Yeah, my skepticism sensors are tingling a bit.
Mine too. But that's what makes this deep dive so interesting. So his website is called sistazavest.me. It's got 15 different points on it, and each one supposedly offers a different kind of energy transmission.
Okay, so you just click on a point and what? Does like a lightning bolt shoot out of your screen?
Not quite.
Yeah.
It's way more subtle than that. You click a point, a timer counts down, and supposedly that's it. You're infused with this energy all through your computer screen.
That's a bold claim, to say the least. What's the theory behind it?
Well, that's where it gets even more interesting. He's grounding his concept in this blend of quantum physics and Advaita Vedanta.
Okay, now those are two areas I'm actually pretty familiar with quantum physics. I get entanglement, the idea that particles can be linked across any distance. But what's the connection to Advaita Vedanta?
Right, so as you know, quantum entanglement suggests that particles can be linked across any distance. So Fleger basically thinks that principle extends to consciousness and energy as well.
So clicking a button on his site is like tapping into a network of energy that exists beyond space and time as we normally perceive it?
That's the gist of it. He even compares it to an antenna, tuning into this non-local energy field.
It's definitely an intriguing concept. And you said he ties it to the 2022 Nobel Prize.
Yep, the one awarded for research on quantum entanglement. He seems to be implying that research validates his ideas about non-locality and the nature of reality.
It's definitely a thought-provoking connection. But let's back up for a second and talk about this Advaita Vedanta piece. For those who aren't familiar with it, can you give us a quick rundown?
Sure. So Advaita Vedanta, it's an ancient Indian philosophy. It emphasizes the concept of a unified consciousness. Basically the idea that our individual awareness is all part of this larger universal consciousness.
Right. It's the idea that we're all interconnected at the deepest level. And actually some pretty big names in science like Schrödinger and Oppenheimer were influenced by Vedanta.
Exactly. They were fascinated by the parallels between quantum physics and Eastern philosophy. So you've got cutting-edge physics and ancient philosophy all mixed up in this. But I have to admit, I'm still having trouble wrapping my head around how clicking a button on a website can actually transmit energy.
Yeah, I hear you. It definitely sounds a bit far-fetched. How does Fleger address the skeptics out there?
He acknowledges that it's totally natural to be skeptical, especially since we tend to think of energy work as something that involves tangible sensations.
Right, like feeling heat or tingling or something like that.
Exactly. But he argues that this energy he's talking about operates on a much deeper level of consciousness, beyond physical sensations.
So it's less about feeling a jolt of energy and more about subtle changes in your internal state.
Precisely. He calls it accessing a clean consciousness.
Clean consciousness. What does he mean by clean?
It's a good question. It's essentially a state of awareness that's free from the constant chatter of our thoughts and feelings, like a mental detox.
So if I'm understanding this correctly, the idea is that by focusing our attention on these points in this online park, we're somehow aligning ourselves with this field of clean consciousness.
That seems to be the core idea. He even suggests that this shift in consciousness can actually influence the space around you, even though it's intangible.
Wait, he's saying it affects the physical space, but we're talking about an online interaction?
I know it sounds crazy, right?
Yeah.
But he compares it to Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi, how so?
Well, we can't see Wi-Fi signals, but they're all around us, influencing our devices. He's suggesting that this clean consciousness operates in a similar way, like an unseen force that permeates our surroundings.
Okay, that's a pretty wild analogy. I'm really curious now to hear what people are actually experiencing with this. Does this thing actually work?
Well, there aren't any controlled scientific studies. But Fleger says that people who have tried the park report experiencing these interesting states.
Interesting states? That's pretty vague. What does that even mean?
He describes it as being able to see deeper.
See deeper into what exactly?
He's talking about a deeper level of self-awareness. For example, some users have reported feeling a profound sense of interconnectedness after using the point that focuses on dissolving the illusion of separation.
So it's not about having like a mystical vision. It's more about a subtle but profound shift in how you perceive yourself and the world.
Yeah, that seems to be the core concept. It's less about feeling a specific sensation and more about a fundamental shift in awareness, leading to a deeper understanding of your own consciousness.
Okay, so we've got this online energy park that claims to transmit energy through the internet. It's based on this blend of quantum physics and ancient Indian philosophy, and supposedly helps people access a state of clean consciousness.
It's a lot to take in.
I know, right? But I think we're starting to get a better grasp of what this online energy park is all about.
Yeah, it's definitely a unique concept. And it raises some really interesting questions about the nature of consciousness, the potential of technology, and the future of well-being.
Exactly. And in the next part of our deep dive, we're going to explore the specifics of each energy transmission offered in the park. So stay tuned. We'll be right back after a short break. Hashtag TTS, the deep dive episode 2024-1023. Part 2 of 3.
So are we ready to dive deeper into these energy transmissions? What exactly can people expect when they click on these points?
Let's do it. I'm really curious about these interesting states people have reported. What exactly are these states, and how are they linked to the specific energy points? Well, Flieger's intentionally a bit vague, He doesn't want to impose any preconceived notions. He encourages people to approach the part with an open mind.
Right, I get that.
Yeah.
But can we at least get a sneak peek? Any hints about what these experiences might be like?
Well, based on what he does share and some of the anecdotal reports, we can piece together some possibilities.
Okay, let's hear it. Which point stands out to you as the most intriguing?
There's one that focuses on accessing what Flieger calls the core of your being. Sounds pretty deep, right?
The core of your being. Okay, I'm hooked. What does that even mean?
He describes it as a state that's beyond thought and emotion, a place of pure potential. He uses this metaphor of a seed.
A seed. Interesting. How does that tie into the core of your being?
Well, he believes that this point helps you connect with the seed of your true self, the essence of who you are beneath all the layers, the conditioning, the societal programming, all of that.
So it's about stripping away all the external influences and getting down to your most authentic self.
Exactly. And by connecting with that core essence, he suggests you can tap into a source of immense power and creativity.
That's a powerful concept. It's not about receiving a specific energy transmission. It's about accessing something that's already within you.
Right. It's about unlocking your own inner potential, not relying on external forces for happiness or fulfillment.
I like that emphasis on empowerment. Okay, so what about some of the other points? What other kinds of transformative experiences are we talking about?
Well, building on that idea of inner potential, there's a point that's focused on dissolving the illusion of separation. This ties back to the Advaita Vedanta concept of interconnectedness.
So this is the point that helps people experience that oneness, that sense of being connected to everything around them.
Exactly. Flieger suggests this experience can be incredibly liberating, freeing us from the limitations of our ego-based perceptions.
I can see how experiencing that interconnectedness could be profound. What other intriguing points does Flieger offer in this energy park menu?
There's one that's focused on cultivating what he calls radiant awareness. He describes it as a state of heightened presence and clarity, where you're fully engaged in the present moment, free from distractions.
So it's like a supercharged mindfulness practice.
That's a great way to put it. He suggests this point can help cultivate a more mindful way of being, where you're more aware of your thoughts and feelings without getting swept away by them.
That sounds valuable, especially in our fast-paced world. It's like finding that inner stillness amidst all the chaos.
Exactly. And then there's another point that focuses on amplifying heart's intelligence.
Heart's intelligence? I've heard of that before. But I've always been a bit skeptical. Is he suggesting we should ditch logic and just follow our hearts all the time?
Not exactly. He sees the heart and mind as complementary. He suggests that tuning into our heart's intelligence allows us to access a deeper level of wisdom. That goes beyond our rational mind's limitations.
This is about integrating both head and heart, finding that balance between logic and intuition.
Precisely. He suggests this point can help you make decisions that are aligned with your deepest values and desires, rather than being swayed by external pressures.
That resonates with me. It's about making authentic choices that come from a place of inner knowing. Okay, so we've got points for accessing our core being, dissolving the illusion of separation, cultivating radiant awareness, and amplifying heart's intelligence. What about the final point in the park? What's that all about?
The last one we'll touch on focuses on activating what Flieger calls creative flow. He suggests this point can help you tap into your creative potential. allowing ideas and inspiration to flow more freely.
Now, that one definitely piques my interest. But how does clicking a button on a website help you tap into creative flow? I mean, isn't that something that comes from within?
He believes it works by clearing those energetic blockages that might be hindering your creative expression. And he also suggests that it helps you connect with a source of universal inspiration.
A universal source of inspiration, like a cosmic muse or something.
You could think of it that way. He believes there's this wellspring of creative energy that's accessible to everyone. And this point helps you tune into it.
Okay, I'm starting to see the bigger picture here.
Yeah.
This isn't about quick fixes or surface-level changes. It's about deep transformation, connecting with our potential and tapping into this universal wisdom and creativity.
Exactly. While it may seem unconventional, exploring these new possibilities and challenging our assumptions about what's possible can be incredibly valuable.
I agree. But what I'm really curious about now is what happens when people actually try this out. Has Fligger shared any stories about people's experiences with the park?
He mentions a wide range of experiences, from subtle energy shifts to profound insights and breakthroughs. He emphasizes that everyone's experience is unique, and there's no right or wrong way to engage with the park.
So the key is to be open to whatever unfolds, without expectations of specific outcomes.
Precisely. He encourages approaching it with a spirit of curiosity and exploration, trusting that the energy will guide you where you need to go.
Okay, that makes sense. But before we all rush off to explore the park, I'd love to know more about the man behind it. Who is Tomasz Fligger, and what led him to create this energy park?
That's a great question. The articles you provided don't delve too deeply into his personal story, but we can glean some insights from what he does share.
Okay, I'm all ears. Let's pull back the curtain and learn more about the man behind the energy, so to speak.
From his writing and interviews, he comes across as someone who's deeply passionate about exploring the intersection of science, spirituality, and human potential. He's clearly knowledgeable about both ancient wisdom and modern research, and he's not afraid to challenge conventional thinking.
So he's not your typical energy healer.
No, he's definitely in a category of his own. He's not promoting dogma or offering easy answers. He's inviting people to embark on a journey of self-discovery, using the energy park as a tool for personal growth and transformation.
I admire that approach. It's about empowering people to take responsibility for their own well-being, not relying on external sources for solutions.
Exactly.
Okay.
And while the details about his personal journey are limited, he does mention this pivotal experience he had while recovering from a bicycle accident. It seems like that experience really inspired him to create this online platform for transmitting energy.
So this energy park was born from his personal healing experience.
That seems to be the case. He suggests that this experience really deepened his understanding of interconnected consciousness and the power of energy to heal and transform.
It's inspiring that he's turned a personal challenge into something that can potentially benefit others. So this energy park, it's like his way of sharing what he's learned and helping others access their own healing potential.
Right. And while his work might not be fully embraced by the scientific community just yet, his commitment to bridging the gap between science and spirituality is admirable. He's demonstrating that these two realms aren't mutually exclusive. They're actually complementary aspects of a larger reality.
That's an important point. Too often, science and spirituality are seen as opposing forces. But Fligger seems to be suggesting there's a way to integrate these perspectives, finding a synthesis that honors both the material and the non-material aspects of our existence.
And that synthesis is where things get really fascinating. If we can bridge that gap between science and spirituality, imagine the possibilities for understanding ourselves, the universe, and the nature of consciousness.
That's an exciting prospect. But realistically, some people are going to hear all this and just dismiss it as nonsense.
Yeah.
How does Fligger respond to the skeptics?
He acknowledges that his work might not resonate with everyone, and he doesn't try to force his beliefs on anyone. He simply presents his ideas and invites people to explore them for themselves. He's more interested in sparking curiosity and critical thinking than in converting people to his worldview.
I respect that approach. It's not about blind faith, but about personal exploration and discovery. Okay, so we've talked about the different energy points and the man behind the park, but what about the practicalities? How do you actually access the park? Is there a fee? Do you need any special equipment?
It's actually remarkably simple. You just visit his website, chistazavis.cp, and you can access the energy park for free. There's no need for an account or any special software.
Wow, it's literally a click away.
Yeah.
That's incredible. But I am curious about the technology behind it. How does he actually transmit these energies through the internet?
That's the million-dollar question, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't really divulge the technical details, which is understandable given the proprietary nature of his work. But he does hint that it involves harnessing the power of intention and utilizing specific frequencies and symbols to create a resonant field that's accessible online.
So it's not just about electrical signals through wires. It's about infusing the technology with intention and creating a kind of energetic portal in the digital realm.
That seems to be the essence of it. And while it might sound far-fetched, it's not entirely implausible given what we're learning about subtle energies. I mean, we send information, images, even emotions through the internet. So why not energy as well?
Okay, I see the potential. But couldn't it all just be a placebo effect? You know, we click a button, expect to feel something, and our minds create the experience.
That's a valid point. And the placebo effect is undeniably powerful. However, there's increasing evidence that consciousness can influence matter in ways that go beyond placebo. For example, studies on distant healing suggest that sending healing energy to someone remotely can have measurable impacts on their health.
So while we can't rule out the placebo effect entirely, it's possible that there's a genuine energetic exchange occurring.
Exactly. Flieger acknowledges the role of belief and expectation, but he emphasizes that the energy itself operates independently of our beliefs.
So the energy is present whether we believe in it or not.
That's the idea. He believes that even if we approach it with skepticism, the energy can still have a positive impact. It's like the sun. It shines whether or not we believe in it.
Okay, I think I'm starting to wrap my head around the theory behind the park. Now let's talk about practical applications. If someone tries this out, what results can they realistically expect? What are the potential benefits?
As we've discussed, the effects can vary from person to person, but based on Flieger's descriptions and the anecdotal reports, there are some possible benefits that are worth exploring.
Okay, let's hear them. What kind of transformations are we talking about?
Well, Flieger suggests the park can help people reduce stress and anxiety by promoting relaxation and clarity, increase energy and vitality by clearing those energetic blockages, enhance creativity and intuition by activating heart intelligence, deepen self-awareness by facilitating a connection with one's true essence, and improve overall well-being by creating a more harmonious state of being on all levels: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual.
That's an impressive list.
Yeah.
It seems like a very holistic approach to well-being, addressing the whole person rather than just targeting symptoms. But are there any potential downsides or risks to using the energy park? I mean, could it backfire in some way?
That's a crucial question to ask with any form of energy work. While Flieger doesn't explicitly mention risks, it's always wise to approach this kind of work with caution and awareness. Some people might experience temporary discomfort as energy blockages are released.
Like headaches or emotional ups and downs.
Exactly. Or some people might find themselves becoming more sensitive to their surroundings, including other people's energy or environmental factors.
So it's not a guaranteed path to bliss. There's potential for both positive and challenging experiences.
That's a fair assessment. Energy work is a process. It's not a quick fix. It demands commitment, self-awareness, and a willingness to embrace the unknown.
Okay, I think we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about the theory, the potential benefits, and even the challenges. But before we wrap up this part, if someone's listening and they're wondering, is this energy park right for me? What advice would you give them?
I'd say trust your intuition. If you're drawn to it, there's probably a reason. Explore the website, read Flieger's writings, and see if it resonates with you. If it feels right, give it a try. There's nothing to lose except maybe some limiting beliefs and outdated paradigms.
That's great advice. Trust your gut, be open to new possibilities, and see where the journey leads. For those who are ready to explore further, we'll link to Flieger's website in the show notes. But before you head over there, stay tuned for the final part of our deep dive, where we'll explore the implications of this energy park for the future of technology, consciousness, and human evolution. Hashtag TTS, the Deep Dive episode 2024-1023. Part 3 of 3. Okay, so we've explored the theory behind Flieger's energy park, and we've talked about the potential benefits for individuals. But now I want to zoom out a bit. Think bigger picture here. What are the implications of all this for the future? Like, what does this fusion of technology and consciousness mean for society as a whole?
It really makes you rethink the possibilities, right? It's not just another self-help gimmick. This is a whole different way of looking at technology and its potential to shape us.
Yeah, it's like he's flipping the script. We usually think of technology as this separate thing, a tool we use. But Flieger's suggesting that it can actually be a pathway to inner transformation.
Right. Instead of contributing to that disconnect we often feel in this digital world, he's saying technology can actually be a bridge back to ourselves.
And that theme of interconnectedness keeps coming up. It's almost like he's using technology to address the very problems that technology often creates. You know, the fragmentation, the isolation.
It's pretty paradoxical, isn't it? using the tools of the digital age to reconnect us to our true selves. So if Flieger's vision catches on, what do you think the future might look like?
Well, I could imagine a world where technology is no longer just about convenience or entertainment. What if we start seeing it as a way to support our personal growth and help us understand ourselves better?
It would be a major upgrade for our inner lives, wouldn't it? Imagine instead of just mindlessly scrolling through social media, we're engaging with online spaces designed to uplift us and connect us to our potential.
Instead of apps that distract us, we could have apps that guide us into deep meditation, or virtual reality experiences that help us access profound insights.
Yeah, exactly. A whole new industry could emerge focused on digital well-being. And it's not just about individual transformation either. Flieger's work suggests that technology could also be used to facilitate these collective shifts in consciousness.
That's a mind-blowing concept.
Yeah.
Like, what if we could use the internet to create these global meditations or amplify positive intentions on a massive scale?
It's definitely a possibility, a global network of interconnected hearts and minds working together to create a more harmonious world.
It sounds almost utopian. But let's be realistic here. This whole idea of online energy parks and digital well-being, it's still very much in its infancy.
For sure, there's a lot more research to be done, and I'm sure there will be plenty of skepticism along the way.
We also need to be aware of the potential downsides. We don't want to end up in a future where technology just becomes another form of escapism.
Right, we don't want to get so caught up in our digital selves that we lose touch with the real world. I think that's an important point to keep in mind as we explore these new frontiers.
It all comes down to our intentions and how we choose to use these tools. That's a key takeaway from Flieger's work. He's not saying technology is the answer. He's inviting us to become more conscious creators of our own evolution.
Exactly. It's not about outsourcing our well-being to some app or website. It's about using technology as a starting point for a deeper exploration of ourselves.
And ultimately connecting with the wisdom and the potential that we all have within us.
That's a powerful message. And on that note, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive into Tomáš Flieger's online energy park.
It's been quite a journey, hasn't it? We've explored the science, the philosophy, the potential benefits, the challenges.
Wow.
A lot to unpack.
It just goes to show the power of human curiosity and what can happen when we dare to venture beyond the familiar. It's been a fascinating exploration.
Absolutely. So to all our listeners out there, we encourage you to keep exploring, keep questioning, keep diving deep. The future is ultimately in our hands. It's up to each of us to determine what kind of world we want to create.
And how we want to use technology to shape that world.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into online energy parks, consciousness, and the potential of technology to transform our lives. Until next time, keep those minds open and those